Buckle Up Podcast. My mic is right.
Right.
My mic is tight.
Tight.
My mic is hype.
Hype.
My mic is psych. Buckle up, buckle up.
Podcast.
Buckle up, buckle up.
Podcast.
Buckle up, buckle up.
Podcast.
Buckle up, buckle up. My mic is hype. My mic is psych.
Psych.
My mic is right.
Right.
My mic is hype. Buckle up, buckle up.
Podcast.
Buckle up, buckle up.
Podcast.
Buckle up, buckle up.
Podcast.
Buckle up, buckle up.
Listen up close, we here to spread the news. Buckle Up Podcast is the voice of the views. So let's talk about topics and points of views. Buckle Up Podcast is made for you.
Hey, it's your girl Shablee McGinnis. Thank you for listening to Buckle Up Podcast. I am so excited. This is season 3 that we are in, and it is going to be more new and exciting topics to talk about on this season. And again, trying to get some brave hosts to co-host with me to talk about some topics this season. So that is going to be in the works. That is going to be a project that I will be working on for this season 3. But what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about the topic of DEI. Yes, I'm back on this Trump train. I want to talk about these corporations who backed out of the DEI, like Targets, Walmart, to name a few. Okay, and there is going to be a boycott of these corporations. So in my last episode, I had told you guys about the boycott to shop small businesses, black-owned businesses, and let's make an impact. So with that being said, the two major corporations that I just mentioned have black-owned businesses in their retail. So what we are trying to spread the word and urge people to don't boycott the small black businesses that is in retail, because it is very hard for them to break their contract to come out of these big corporations. It's not that easy as people think that it is. You know, they have their products on their shelves in these major corporations like Walmart and Targets and Sally's, excuse me, to name a few. So what you need to do is still shop with the black-owned businesses that are in these corporations. So that don't mean that you can go to Walmart and have to shop whatever is in Walmart. If you know that there's a black product in there, support that business. Find out what their website is. Go on to their website and support their business, because it's not that easy for them to come out of these retail stores just because we're boycotting. And we shouldn't penalize them for being in these retail spaces because of the DEI rollback for these corporations. Now, my job, we had an in-service about a week and a half ago about this DEI. And my person that does the training for these in-services, she was like, what does it mean to me? And I explained to her what it meant to me and my experience here in upstate New York. And because I had a white co-worker sitting in that same room, I didn't kind of feel like she heard me. She did hear me, but she didn't hear me because she wanted to spare the feelings of that white person there. I didn't care about the white person being there. And it was no disrespect due to this, coworker. Excuse me. So I basically said that I had a horrible work experience working without DEI here in upstate New York. When I first moved up here 20 years ago and I got into the healthcare field, coming out of NYC, I was the only or the second minority in these spaces, in these outpatient offices. And it was a lot of discrimination, blatant racism, because there wasn't enough people in there that looked like a rainbow, put it that way. Okay, so I didn't have a good experience. And I told her that I've come from a city where there is a lot of diversity. And I worked in the same industry and never had an issue with being the only person in the room trying to work harder than my other coworkers that are not of color. And it's not until I moved up here that I experienced this racism. So DEI is very important to me in these spaces. And, she kind of brushed it off a little bit, and kind of talked about her experience. And I just felt like, here we are, we have this in-service, and we're not getting down to the root of the issue. But that was just an in-service. So she didn't really have too much to bring back to the powers that be, which is upper management, executives or whatever. But I just felt like that in-service wasn't really conducive, because this is a subject that we need to speak about on a larger scale with executives in that room. So with this administration rolling back DEI, it's because they don't want to see people of color to have any authority over someone that does not look like them. That's my opinion. And that's why we need to have a stance in this DEI and hold them accountable, and then we have to look at ourselves as well and say, how can we make a change? And how can we do things that would benefit us as a people? Okay? And I got that train of thought from a guy that I admire. I love this man. He is a journalist. He has his own media outlet. He used to work for the big media companies, CNN. I believe he was on Fox, or may have talked on Fox. But this is Roland Martin, y'all. And I love this dude. This dude bring out receipts when he talks about things. And he is very passionate about his community and his people, Black people, African American people. And I watched this man for many years fighting the good fight, to help our people be properly informed and, have a platform to discuss issues that people really don't want to discuss, or people evade these issues and don't want to discuss them. And he bring them full forth to the table to put it out there. So I love me some Roland Martin. And like he was saying in one of his episodes, he was saying that, you know, we need to start our own businesses and build within our own communities so that we don't have to worry about any DEIs, because we will have corporations and businesses that look like us. Look what they did to the journalist Joy A. Reid. I watched her a few times. She was a strong black journalist with a very good show that I will watch with my residents, because, you know, he liked that MSNBC and he liked her show. And they took her off the show. They canceled her show. And that was a positive black image for media to keep us informed with what is going on in the administration, what's going on in around the country. And they canceled her. And Roland Martin said, you know what? It was wrong for what they did. But the lighter part of it is now she can have a door open to start her own media and discuss things that she don't have to look back on her shoulders to see, am I going to get penalized for what I just discussed? Because she will have her own show discussing whatever she wants to discuss, like he has. And he says we need to have more of that, and I am in agreement with him. I think that if we as black people collectively stick together and support one another, that we can have anything that we desire if we all stick together and support one another. We can have our own black economy, and it won't be like what they did in the Midwest with the Black Wall Street, because we would be too strong in numbers and in businesses for them to do that without it affecting them as well. So we have a lot of things to unpack as black people, people of color. And we have to start thinking about how we are going to move ahead in these next 3 years with this man as president, because he isn't working for us. He is definitely working for the rich. And pay attention to the news that are reporting accurate information, and start participating and organizing for boycotts, because we are the minority that spend most of our money into these big corporations. Our dollar goes a long, long way when we spend with these corporations. So now it's time for us to reset and think about our next move in supporting our own. So I just wanted to leave that there in this podcast, because that was really on my heart to talk about in this new episode. And if any one of y'all have any comments, you can always comment in the section of which the podcast is being broadcast. And that's with audio.com and YouTube. So I would love to know what you guys think about what I just said in this podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you with a prayer, as I do on every podcast. And it's coming out of Proverbs. And it says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that right there, because I think you guys know what God is trying to tell us. So on that note, thank you for listening. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell them to listen and subscribe so our numbers can increase in this algorithm, so that this podcast, I should say, can move forward with lots of listeners and touch people's hearts and change people's lives and change people's thinking. So with that said, I am out of here. Keep your head up high, keep your shoulders back, and keep on walking in your purpose, baby.